Oh, you fucking asshole. Welcome to the Still Loading podcast, where real ones hit pause on the chaos and tap in with us. We know your day has been nonstop, so let's unwind and talk about the things people actually care about: relationships, wellness, social media madness, wild headlines, and a little entertainment to keep it spicy. This podcast is strictly for entertainment, so don't take us too seriously unless we're right. So grab your favorite drink, be it wine, bourbon, beer, or even some alkaline water, and vibe with us. So let's get into it. We're here with Cayne. What's going on, man? How was your weekend?
Good, good. What's up, man? How you doing, Ace? How was yours?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. Another day, another dollar, right?
That's it, man. That's it. Listen, this weekend, man. I did a couple of things. I went to my aunt's party. My aunt had a really nice party this weekend. I saw a lot of family, man. I mean, family I haven't seen in well over 20 years, man. It was crazy
Mhm.
being there and just running into so many people. Like, it's funny, when you don't see certain family for a long time, you can even forget their names. And I'm just sitting there. It just really was eye opening for me. So it was just really
Right.
good seeing everyone. It was my father's side of the family. So it was really nice, really nice. And then after that, I went to the movies. I got a chance to see Thunderbolts this weekend. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay. We'll get
yeah.
into that.
It was actually pretty solid, man. I liked it. But yeah, how was your weekend, man? What'd you do?
I watched Thunderbolts as well. I I actually liked it. I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews regarding the movie. It's slow, it's not as entertaining, this or that. But when I was watching it and I'm seeing action happening off the get, there's already so much going on. Not going to ruin it for anybody out there, but there was just so much going on. There's new characters, there's some killing, and you're thinking to yourself, what the heck is happening? I loved it through and through. And there's two endings, everybody. One is funny, one is very serious. Wait for the very ending to see it. It's really great. But I give it thumbs up, two thumbs up. I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
What are your thoughts?
That's actually about where I had it too. I had it about a seven, 7.5.
Hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was like you said, there were a little there were some parts that were a little slower moving. But overall I liked it. I think it was good pace. It wasn't like too much action and not enough plot. I liked how it was kind of interesting how they were all, and of course, guys, spoiler alerts, please, just so you all know. If you want to skip ahead, please do. But I
Spoil.
liked how they just incorporated a cool plot into it. Nobody knew who was where for what reason. They were all just kind of figuring out on in the moment what they were supposed to do. And I thought that was a pretty cool aspect. And then of course seeing Century's character, who, if anybody read the comics, he's basically Marvel's version of Superman, right? Except he has some
Fucked up version.
severe
Gotcha.
mental issues.
Bipolar.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Beyond, I mean, like just multi personality, and it was just a really cool twist on the character. And then I like the fact that they incorporated everyday issues, like meth abuse and abuse within the home. Like
Mhm.
those were things that Marvel typically tends to stay away from. So to see them get into more serious topics, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And as I was preparing myself, stuffing on some nachos and some Butterfingers, I saw a lot of these previews. And, these previews really got to me because I have such mixed reviews regarding some of these previews. A lot of these movies that they're previewing were all remakes. And it made me very uncomfortable seeing that because for me, I like the originals. I feel like that's where they should be. They remake movies. There's a lot of controversy around that. For me, I enjoyed Tron original, right? Then they made another Tron, and now they're creating another Tron, but they're calling it Tron Ares, right? And
This one looks pretty good though. I can't
I mean,
lie,
it
man.
looks sick, visually appealing. It looks very visually appealing, but I'm thinking to myself, there's Tron, there's a new Karate Kid. I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's all these ones that are just being remade, and I don't know. What's your take on all these movies that are being remade into these newer versions, such as like the Harry Potter series reboot, Shrek, and the Twilight Show? What are your thoughts?
You know what? You actually mentioned a good point there about there being a lot of remakes. And I was just thinking about something. A couple of weeks ago, we had talked about the fact that private equity has entered the sports arena and even in hospitals and things like that. But they've also
Yes.
entered the film industry too. And so that just made me think about that just now, because what happens is once they infiltrate the film industry, they now only want to make movies that they know will make money,
Hmm.
right? And so, what better movies to make than movies that have already been hits in the past? And so I think what's happening is you're seeing a lot of remakes or a lot of sequels and prequels because they already have an established IP. Like people already know about it and can say, "Oh, I know that name." Right? So
Mhm.
because of that, they might go see it. And I think that's what's happening is that a lot of these private investors now don't really want to mess around with too many original films. I just was thinking
Right.
about that. Like, that could very well be the case where it's just like, look, this is our money. We want to make sure when we put this money out, we're going to get a return back. We don't necessarily want to risk a new IP or a new movie or idea because we're just not sure if it's going to work yet.
Yeah, I feel that. And, there's a lot of flops out there too. Granted, there was that one Disney movie that just came out. And what was it? What was that movie that just came out? And it was a super flop because of one of their star
Oh,
actresses,
yeah, Snow White. Was it Snow White or something
Snow
like that?
White. And let me guess, do you know the actress's name? I know
I
you
think
do.
it's Ziegler. Ziegler. Rachel
He, see,
Ziegler, something like
yeah,
that.
he
I
already,
think so. I
Kay
think.
knows everything, guys. So what's crazy with seeing that, right? And it's also based on the actors and actresses that you have playing the roles. It's their behavior outside of the movie that really captures the attention, as you can already tell. I'm sure that if she didn't say a word about, being woke and talking about what it's actually about and how the original was just about some guy who was stalking her and etc. I mean, she was saying all these things and making a lot of accusations. And next thing you know, the movie flops. They lose out on millions of dollars. She's getting cut left and right from different performances and from showings and from signings. And it makes you think like, okay, they're making all these new movies. How entitled are these actors and actresses in these new roles, right?
But you know what? See, this is where I got to push back because my thing is, actors are not just robots. They all have lives. They all have thoughts and views, right? And I like
Mhm.
the fact that someone like her, and honestly, when you look back a lot of these older fairy tales and stories, a lot of them were very creepy. Like when you think
Mhm.
about a lot of these stories, the way they were written in the past, they weren't thinking about abuse or stalking or,
Right.
kissing a woman when she's asleep, even though you don't know her. You think about what Snow White was about. That's literally what it was. Like
Mhm.
this guy didn't know this woman. You know what I'm saying? But it was just one of those things where it just brings to mind, okay, we know what we know now. And of course, we've had the topic before. How sensitive is too sensitive? There's a point where we can get to and it's just
Right.
too much. But at the same time, I can understand her saying certain things. And I feel like the people that stay away from those movies that try to punish her or the filmmakers are the real losers. It's like, why do you feel it's so necessary to try to punish someone because they hold different views than you? If somebody speaks about Gaza or Israel, and all of a sudden it's, oh well, we don't want to give you our money because you care more about Gaza and you're speaking out against, and it's just become this whole political thing, and it's really silly to me. I just think it's, look, if it's a
Well,
good movie or you want to go see the movie, go see it. It's different if you got somebody out there that's blatantly racist or sexist or misogynist, then of course that's a different story, right? But
mhm.
if someone is just like, look, I hold different views on certain things and we might not all agree, that's cool.
I agree with you on that, right? If it's just unprovoked and you're just having these conversations, you're posting on social media what you feel, where your headspace is, etc. Me, I see these things when they're being showcased at a red carpet event or at a showing, and she's spouting all these things during those times when someone's asking a simple question of, what is this? What is this about? Can you share a little bit about what the movie's about and how it was? And then the shift turns into, well, it's about someone being stalked before. Creepy. It's something different. Now it's about empowering. And it's trashing on the original, which, by the way, that holds near and dear to a lot of people. Right, that's a lot of people's freaking, great grow up movie. They enjoyed it. There's a lot of figurines and a lot of collections out there for that. I mean, they're even on sports cards as well. It's a huge thing for Disney to recreate different movies with the idea of giving it to the next generation because obviously it needs to be more visually appealing. There needs to be things that pop. There needs to be music. There needs to be things that just stand out to today's age kids, right? So it's great to recreate those things for the kids. As adults, obviously, we're going to see it differently because now we have a different mindset of the world and of people, and things progress. But kids are still kids; they're innocent, right? But if they're hearing this star actress talk about all these things, and these kids are seeing it, it kind of ruins the movie for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Talk about it
yeah,
on your
that's
platform.
true.
Talk about it on X. Talk about
You
it on
know what's
Instagram.
great? You know what though? Like, while I understand what you're saying, yeah, I guess I can see that. But if anything, it's the parents who are upset. It's these parents who are so upset now that people of different races are being represented in different roles. For instance, with a Snow White or with Cinderella or
Okay, so that's a shift a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I think people now are just becoming so. Oh well, they weren't originally a black person, like Little Mermaid. Mermaid became a black woman, and they were
Mm.
like, "Why does she have to be black? It's a cartoon. Like, why are you so upset about something that's fake anyway? Like, mermaids don't even exist. So why are
Isn't
you upset that
wasn't
the
Princess of the
mermaid?
Frog, wasn't she black?
Yes, that was a black character, but
Then that was a good one too. I
yeah,
actually really love that.
yeah, man. Like, I
But
think
there's a
some
lot of
people
great ones out
just they
there.
just have this view in their mind. Well, it was made this way; it should always be this way. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, people write or create based upon what their experiences are, right? So if
Right.
they never see certain people in certain roles, they're going to write that way because that's how they see. Like a white person is going to write typically about what they experience, right? Whereas you get a person of color, they're going to write from their own experience.
Mhm.
And so I think it's one of those things where people just have to be less sensitive about who's playing what and what the story is. Is it a good plot, right? Does the story make sense? Does it have some value to it? I think that's the problem. And a lot of people just aren't paying attention to that.
So in retail, we have this thing where the customer's always right. Right? No matter what, the customer's always right. You want to make sure that we appease to them so that way they're still buying and they're still becoming a consumer. Turn that customer into a client type of mindset, right? I think it's a similar thing when it comes to the movies as well. You're making a movie for your audience, not for yourself, right? So if your audience is coming out there and they're saying, I don't want to hear politics, I don't want to hear this, I don't want to hear that. I just want you to make the movie and I want us to see it. Like whatever the actors and actresses have in their mind when it comes to political agendas or when it comes to their ideals, leave that to your personal life. Don't bring that into the movie life because now that taints the movie a little bit. It's like you're throwing shit at it.
I'm going to push on that back. See,
Absolutely.
and I like this conversation because yes, there is a debate on both sides, but I really believe that art
Mhm.
pushes people to think about things that they might have thought about before, right? Let's think about all the movies that have come out since the beginning of time.
Right.
The only people that had that idea was the person creating it, right?
Mhm.
So until it actually came out and somebody saw it, they had no idea what it was going to be about, and they liked it, right? Or some didn't like it, but it was an artist who said, this is my idea and I want to give it to the world, right? And based upon that, the audience could say, yo, this was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, or they could say, take it or leave it. But that's what I think art is about. That's what movies are about. That's what music is about. Is you first have to be passionate about what you're doing first, right? And then you give it to the world, and hopefully they share your vision. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
I like that.
And that's really what it's all about to me.
I hear what you're saying on that, and I agree. Absolutely. And I think that art should push those boundaries, if not more so than anything else. My thing is when they're doing the recreation of movies and you're now smothering it with your own political agendas and with your own ideals and with whatever type of things that you want to say, that's just going against the grain of what you're doing. So if I am the lead actor or actress in a movie, I want to make sure that what I'm saying feeds into what it's about, what it's originally about, and what we're still showing to this day. So that way the message is clear, right? Now, if I start saying, well, the original sucked and I'm going to actually change it, and I feel like, as a man, it should be more about me as opposed to me and the woman. Say I'm the prince and I'm going to kiss the woman. No, no, forget her. It was about kissing her. Now it's about my mission now. And my mission is going to see her and how hard it was for me as a man and how much shit I had to go through and how much forest I had to trek through and how many monsters I had to slay just to get to this queen when that's not what the movie's about originally. It's about, you know, man going to see her, kiss, they become one. I mean, I'm making it very short right now, but that's what it's about, right? And I feel like I'm not going to shit on the original just to make my platform be grander than what the original one was. And you can't punch down on the original. You have to uplift it while uplifting yourself at the same time.
I do agree that yes, you should not punch down on the original IP or idea. I do agree with that in large part because again, like you said, people have grown up around this thing for most of their lives.
Mhm.
And mind you, it's all fake. It's a fairy tale. It's a
Oh,
story.
absolutely. Yeah.
And some people they get super sensitive about it. And my thing is, I think having the idea of a different take is cool because it's like, yo, this is a new day and age. This is a way to look at it that we never looked at it before. I think that's pretty cool. But of
Absolutely.
course, like you said, you just keep the punching down to a minimum.
Yeah. Hey, they did it their way. We're gonna change it up a little bit and add some extra things. And you know what? It's gonna be fun, and hope you guys like it. Like
Yes.
that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. Yeah.
I don't know, just going back to the original where it's like all these different movies being remade, I feel as if creativity has gone down in the movie world, and that it is becoming very stale, and they're not coming up with new ideas, so they have to get from the old to make it new. I don't feel like there's much creativity these days.
You know what? That's a good point. So to that point, I guess when it comes to original movies, what do you think is one of the best original movies, if you could think of, that you've seen over the past few years?
Over the over the past few years,
To the past 5 years, what would you say?
past 5 years,
Yeah.
Oppenheimer was definitely one of them.
You know, I still haven't seen that yet. I gotta watch that.
My God, Cayne. I'm gonna pull a Cayne, guys. Bro, you got to get on that, man. I got to give you a list. I got to give you. For those who don't know, whenever I say I don't know
I
anything,
deserve it. I
yeah,
deserve it. Yeah.
yeah. He goes, Ace, man, what are you doing with your life? You got to get on that.
Facts.
I got to
Facts,
send
bro.
you a list. Like, bro, you got to know these things. So yeah, reverse Uno.
Right. Reverse Uno, yes.
I would say the top two would have to be Oppenheimer, most definitely. And the last one would have to be either Parasite or Top Gun Maverick. I've watched Top Gun Maverick. I
But
don't
that's
know
not
how.
an original movie though. That's not an original.
Top Gun
Now
Maverick.
that's a great freaking movie though. It's a
So
great
Top Gun
freaking
Maverick is an original movie. It's actually a sequel.
yeah. Well, so my thing is no, it doesn't count because it doesn't count. So
Okay,
like the way,
Parasite.
yeah, Parasite, that was a great one. That was
Okay, but sequels are they're a good thing, right? They're not a
okay.
remake. It's not a remake. It's not a remake.
Okay, so that's what. So I'm thinking in terms of like what's a brand new idea, that no one has seen before, and this is just like the first time we're getting a glimpse.
You know what? I take away Parasite. Tenet.
Okay, Tenet was good. Tenet was a good movie. You know what?
Chris,
Like Chris
Christopher
Nolan's
Nolan was
movies,
amazing.
man, they like from what's that first movie he did? Well, not first, but Insurrection, Memento. Like he's in a lot of those movies where they're true mind benders. I think that was awesome, man. Tenet was really good. Like the whole
Yeah.
idea of time travel was very, very well done there. Like that's
He
something I
was
want to do.
also in another movie recently where it was like the world was fighting robots and AI, and he was trying to protect this little girl who apparently was like next level AI.
That was also John David too, right?
Yep,
The same guy.
yep,
Yeah,
that was a good
yeah.
movie too. Oh
I
my
didn't watch that one either. I heard so that was good.
Ken, you have to get on it. I don't know
I
what's your
know, man.
deal.
I know, I
On
know.
man.
I know, man. I'm
What about you?
slacking right now.
What's your top movie?
To me, I think Knives Out. I don't know if you've ever seen
I've
those.
never watched that.
Bro,
I'm
bro.
not even kidding you. I never watched it.
To me, Knives Out is one of the best movies. I love a good murder mystery.
Hmm.
It's hard to find a good mystery movie these days. Like everything is
Ooh.
kind of where it's like you have it in your mind who did it already. Like
Mhm.
nothing is hard to figure out. I love
Okay.
a good movie that's just like I really don't know who did it. Like I have some thoughts, but at the end I'm still shocked. Like wow, I never saw this coming.
Is that the same director for Death on the Nile?
Yes, same guy.
Okay, I've seen Death on the
Did you
Nile,
see
and
that?
that was pretty
That
good.
was good.
That
Yo,
was fun. That was
actually no,
fun.
that's Agatha Christie's movie, I believe. But
Okay.
similar guy. What's his name? He's a really good director too. He actually
Yeah.
directed one of the 007 movies too. One of the last
I
two.
love 007, man.
Kenneth Brenner. That's his name. Don't ask
Okay,
me how I know that.
I don't know how you know that. I don't know how you know that. But for the record, 007 movies are always that's
Yeah,
always a hit
top
for me.
tier, top tier,
There's
man.
so much action. And you hear like Henry Cavill might be the I think he actually did get casted for being the next 007. Henry
Really?
Cavill.
So it did happen. I like Henry Cavill a lot, man. That guy,
They
he's a
fucked up when
legit.
they stopped having him as Superman.
Yeah, man, that was a huge screw up. This new guy,
And The
and,
Witcher. And The Witcher.
oh, which was
Yo, when they told him who was his replacement? There
in
was
which what's it? One of the Hemsworth
you
brothers.
already know it. Yeah, not Chris, right?
Yeah, not Chris. What was the other
It was
kid?
his little brother,
Liam, I think, right? Liam
Liam
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, yeah. And they did the whole imagery of what he would look like as The Witcher, and fucking terrible.
Yo, even with the new Superman character, I don't like this
Weak.
guy. Like, yeah,
They did this thing where they're showing all the previous Supermans getting hit by something, getting shot by a bullet in the eye and not flinching. And when he was walking past these protesters, they threw a can at his head and
and
he
he just
reacted to it. And I'm like, you don't feel that, bro. Like,
right.
you weak.
Yeah,
Is that a
That was
kryptonite can?
tired, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then like his suit fit him all loose, like it wasn't like a well fit. It looked like a pajama set that a kid would have on. Like that's how big it was. So this is ridiculous.
Not gonna lie, you just hit on the head for me. I was actually just shopping for a pajama set, so
Well,
not
now you
kidding
know
you.
what to get.
I mean, I usually free ball it, but yeah, man, I want to get like a really nice pajama set that has shorts and short sleeve. I already have a long sleeve pajama set with my name monogrammed on it. So yeah, I'm,
Nice,
I'm I'm fancy as f, bro. Let me tell you right now.
no,
Yes,
that's
sir.
dope. Yeah, for me, I think Knives Out was one of the best. Death on the Nile was another great one, man. I just love a
Mhm.
good original movie. Another original movie that I've seen over the past 5 years, man. That's a tough one. I probably would have to go with like Get Out is a little bit older than that for me. Older than 5 years.
Get out, get out, get out.
That was a movie that Jordan Peele did
No, thank you.
with the guy that was you don't like his stuff?
Okay. No, I'm saying no thank you because I just read this post about some dude who legit showed his read receipts from him and his girl, and then he showed receipts from his girlfriend's phone when she was conversing with her mom. I think I sent it to you on Instagram, but he got his girlfriend's phone, took a picture of it. All the things were very similar to this movie Get Out. And he's like,
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that just drives me crazy because when you think about relationships, right? And how healthy they need to be and all these good stuff. We could talk about the rainbows and shit like that. When it comes down to it, if someone's telling you that their parents might not like you, fuck out of there. Because it's
Yep.
gonna be hell for you for like the rest of it. If they're starting with that, get the fuck out.
And to be honest with you, that's a great question because, when to me, when parents don't like you, while you two are starting off in your own relationship and it really is just about you two. In fact, they say kid or daughter leaves her father and her mother and joins her husband, right? That's
Mhm.
true. But at the end of it all, it's if there's always going to be a tension there, it's never going to be good. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for the husband. It's not good for the,
Uh-huh.
his wife or the daughter, and it's not good for the parents. So that's a tough one. But at the same time, I think if you are a certain age, and it's like, look, we are each other's best friend. I don't
Right.
need to be friends or with your family. So I could see both sides in that too. It's like, what do we need them for? I don't need their money. We don't need anything from them. And yes, you might want to join up as families and spend time with each other. But other than that, what else do you really need?
Yeah, well, two sides of the coin on that one. If she is very close to her parents and her family and they don't like me, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna work.
Yes, that's true.
If she takes what they have to say, to heart and she believes in everything that they say, one day they're gonna fucking look at me and say, you know what, we're gonna make up some shit about this guy and we're gonna make her break up with him. Now, on the flip side, if she doesn't have that strong relationship and she talks to them, but she knows that it doesn't affect her relationship, that's a different story, right? But that also involves a lot of prepping and keeping your mind palace completely solid, keeping your heart solid, keeping your connection with that partner solid, right? That also just comes down to, the date as well, right? If I'm talking to someone, I want to ask, like, hey, are you close with your family? Are you close
Mm.
with your parents? Do you have siblings? Are you close to your siblings? Whatever, right? I want to know these things because that can help me gauge where this is going to sway and what I can and cannot ask, right? Because I want to know what the boundaries are. No, it's like that's what I'm thinking about when it comes to going on dates as well. It's like I need to ask these questions. That way I'm not preparing for my future with you, be it's short term, super short term, or long term.
You know what? That's actually a really good point, though. In terms of the perfect date, right? Like, I think it's very important to have those conversations about your parents and things. But to
Mhm.
your point, what does the perfect date look like to you?
Perfect date, man. I mean, I'm gonna give you the nice guy version first, and that is, let me get to know you. I would like to know your likes, your dislikes, your color. What you like to do on your days off. Do you enjoy walks in the park? Where's your dream vacation? Right. I want to know all these things about you, just because that helps me understand what I can and cannot do for you. And what I mean by that, if you're saying that, hey, you know what? I enjoy going for a run at 10 p.m. I can't do that for you. Like, I'm going to say, good luck on your run, bring some mace, you're good. If you're saying I like to go for runs at 5 a.m., I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? Hell yeah, let's go. I'm down for that. Right. So now I'm gauging what I can and cannot do for you. And I'm also a very active listener. So I like to plan ahead. I know it's so early in the game, and I talked to a few friends about this, and they're always like, dude, you're a little crazy. So, no, no, no. Well, listen, if a girl tells me, hey, you know what? I enjoy knitting or, crocheting or whatever. I said, okay. And then I'll look up some knitting kits and say, hey, you know what? There's a class for knitting on Sunday. Would you like to go on a date and do this? Like, that's something I love doing, right? Now, my other version is, man, if it doesn't end with some, some fun time, then I don't know. No, no, no. That's not the end goal. My end goal is always to know someone. I'm not the type of person that can have sexual relations just off the get. I have to get to know the person. I have to have a piece of them, know who they are, what they're about, and I want to see you the next day. I want to have coffee with you. I want to talk about nothingness and laugh about the stupid things. And that right there is what is best for me in a date. Is simple,
Yeah.
very simple.
You
What
know,
about you?
yeah, I like that actually. I think that's one of the things that I like to do as well. Of course, those first couple of conversations that you have, they tell you a lot about themselves over the phone, and it's up to you to try to figure out how to incorporate them. And so initially, for me, it's a dinner out. It's maybe a drink somewhere. We just go sit down. We have a good laugh. Because to me, I like to be able to do that over relatively little, like you said, a coffee or a drink or something like that, and we can really just talk. Right? It's not about going and get the fanciest lobster or steak. It's just, can we have a great conversation? And what comes from that, right? And I think that that's important. And I'm not saying that it's only drinks or anything like that, but it could be. It just encompasses. It depends on what we decide on. As a burgeoning couple, right? Like, what are we looking to
Right.
do, and where do we want to spend some time, right? And so I think that it's very cool to be able to get to know someone, and then you get a chance to see their personality, and it's to me, I've had some amazing dates where we literally spend the entire day together. Like the first time we meet each other, we literally are like, okay, so what we doing next? Like, I don't want the day to end. Like, let's go out here. I remember one time, I was out on a date and we're just sitting there, we're having a great time and we're out at the bar. It's like a little lounge spot and we're eating brunch, and then from brunch we wind up going to the boardwalk, and then from the boardwalk we wind up going out to eat again later on that night. Like, it was cool to be able to just experience not wanting to do anything else, just spend the entire day, like, and it just kind of flows by. And so that's cool. And then I've had dates where you're literally sitting in one spot for 4 or 5 hours at a time, and the waiters and waitresses are looking like, okay, we wrapping up here. They start flickering the lights, time to something, like, telling everybody it's time to go. And me again, it just boils back down to conversation, right? Just having a really good talk with somebody, and you see from that point on, it's like, okay, this can really go somewhere. Like, that's an
I like
amazing
that.
feeling to me.
I like that. One of the best dates I've ever been on had to have been on a Saturday morning. We wanted to meet for coffee and have no plans. And it was up in the air. We went out for coffee. We had such a fluent conversation where there was no lapse. And if there was a beautiful silence, never an awkward silence. And that's the
Mhm.
biggest difference for people. Having an awkward silence means that you have no words next. You don't know what the next thing is, and you're uncomfortable with the comfortable silence. I just want to be in your presence, and
Right.
that makes me feel good. So we're going from the coffee shop, we're walking around Brooklyn, we go to the botanical garden because we just wound up there. It wasn't even by on purpose. It was just by chance, and it was so beautiful. So many butterflies, so many different plants. Words, very little words were spoken. And next thing you knew, it was 5 o'clock and the sun sets in about 47 minutes. So we decided to go over to Dumbo and go over to the pier to watch the sunset and have some ice cream off the edge of the pier. And right next to us was people playing volleyball. And so we sat, watched the people play volleyball while watching the sunset. And that was awesome. And
That's dope.
after that, we've went on a few more dates. Didn't work out, but hey, you know what? At the end of the day, that was probably one of the best fluent dates I've ever been on.
That's dope.
What about
Yeah,
yourself? What's been a good date for you?
yeah, like to me, just being able to find a place to go and just, like you said, just talk. Like literally just talk and laugh and just do simple things. Just walk a boardwalk, like you mentioned before. Go to the pier. Like I've been to the pier in Dumbo before. It's a beautiful place. If you all
Yes.
have never been, you've never been to Brooklyn before, it's beautiful, man.
Get your ass over there.
Yeah, it's dope. And then of course you got Hudson Yards over there in the city now. That's
Oh my
also a dope
god.
place to be. It's just a lot of cool places. And even when you think about Jersey, you've got Jersey City, like the boardwalk
I went
there.
to
Like
Jersey.
nice try, buddy. Nice try. Listen, Jersey has some of the nicest places I would say in the country, like in
Yeah, he's
terms of
really trying right there.
beautiful skyline. I mean, like Jersey City gets the full New York City skyline literally from like 100 feet away, 200 feet away. So it's really really dope to be able to experience that. But of course, with dating, of course, it doesn't always stay in that phase. It winds up progressing, and then you become a couple, right? And
Uh-huh.
then sometimes you might argue with your significant other. You guys start to disagree on certain things, and that new feeling is no longer as new. That new car smell is starting to wear off a little bit, right?
Yep. Get
And
that shit detailed.
yeah, yeah. And then, of course, there's an issue where maybe you need to start considering therapy, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, you hit it. Like I heard that, and I immediately just remembered all my conversations in the past. And I would say therapy is so healthy. And I think everybody should get it, no matter what. You're not well enough to not need therapy. We can say we're healthy in the mind. You wouldn't even know sometimes that you need therapy until you get it. And
Mhm.
it is such a good feeling. I went to therapy before my past. I mean, I've been in therapy for many things: mom's death, dad's death, relationships, few relationships, my own feelings. And you know what? It has always opened me up to new lights and new paths. I sometimes find myself pivoting and going into a different direction that actually was never there to me in my mind. It was always clouded or too dark to see. And with communication and having someone that can help me go through this maze of mine, it helped me understand that I have other avenues that I can take, that I don't have to keep taking the same avenues over and over again that lead to me being frustrated, depressed, ultimately to ruin. I now have options. And you don't know what options you have until you have therapy.
That's a great point. I think therapy for me, I had done it before with in a previous relationship. I could say it definitely taught me a lot
Mhm,
because it gets you to open up about certain things, from your past and how that might be affecting the way you deal with certain present relationships. And many times we don't even see it. We don't see how we act sometimes is a direct mirror to how maybe our parents acted or
mhm.
maybe how we interpreted what they were dealing with and how we said, okay, I'm not going to deal with that. So maybe we overcompensate in certain areas and say, okay, well, so I don't have to deal with that. I'm going to be this way. I'm going to be a little bit more tough. I'm going to be a little bit more expressive about my concerns and what I want. And sometimes that can also be harmful too. So it's like you have to find that right balance and be able to compensate appropriately for what you want. And I think that that's key. And so, of course, within therapy, there's this idea of like love languages, right? And so I can't lie. When I first heard about this thing, this was about like 5, 6 years ago. And I'm sitting there and I'm hearing this talk like love language. What is this, right? What is the nonsense, right? But I think it's like 5 languages. I think it's like physical touch, quality time, acts of service, gifts, words of affirmation, right?
Uh-huh.
And so, in talking to different women at different points in time, they all have brought up that question, like, what is your love language? Like, these are mine. And, so it became one of those things where immediately I started to develop my own. It's like, well, I know what I've always wanted as a man. For me, it's always been words of affirmation and physical touch, right? And physical touch doesn't have to just be sex for me. Like, that's not what it's about for me. It's just
Oh,
about,
I
no, don't get me
mean,
wrong.
I
No, come
mean,
I mean, listen, like let's be real here. But that's a part of the bond of the relationship, right? But real talk, like I think physical touch is that's a big deal for me because I didn't really get a whole lot of affection as a kid. So for me, it was nice being able to express like, look, this is what I would like from my woman, right?
hmm.
I don't want a woman to be too hard. I like a woman that is nurturing and caring and wants to hug and kiss and be hugged up and stuff like that. I like that type of stuff. That for me is cool. What about you? Do you like what is your thought on this whole love language conversation?
Well, it's man-made, right? But not that old when you think about it. I think they were created what in 2002 or something like that, early 2000s, by some person who think they fucking know it all. Nah, I think love languages are just a way to you know get what you want. Certain nonsense. I mean, if you want to stay quiet, words of affirmation is not your play, right? If you love gifts, then I'm gonna say mine's gift giving, right? Or receiving gifts, right? If I love having sex and you know what? Want my hands to be on you, I'll be like, yo, I'm sorry. My love language is physical touch. I mean, I can't keep my hands off of you, right? I think it's just excuses to do stupid shit. Also, there's another one, right? There's a sixth one that someone else just made up, some other PhD candidate. I think it was food. Food is another love language, by the way, which again, made up. Do I like to touch? Yes. Am I a sexual being? Yes. And do I love to give gifts just because I want to? Absolutely. I don't think that love languages are real. I think that they're
I
really
mean,
fake.
listen, let's be real. When we're thinking about therapeutic terms, when we're thinking about psychological terms, when we're thinking about all these things require some form of definition, right? Like, for
Uh-huh.
instance, this person that you spoke of, he was a pastor, I believe, at one point. And the reason why he came to these different ideas and thoughts was because he's seen hundreds and thousands of couples, right? And they all were complaining in some way, shape, or form about the same types of things, right?
Uh-huh.
So, one person might say, "Hey, you don't spend enough time with me," right? Another person within a relationship might say, "Hey, I really like gifts, but you don't ever buy me anything. Like, what's up with that?" Right? And now, if you start to see these patterns over time, you can start to say to yourself, "Okay, there's 4 or 5 basic things that they all are asking for." Right? That to me says, okay, it is very
Right.
well possible that everybody has at least two of these 5 things in common, right? Think about the things that he's talking about, right? These are all things that we can all relate to and say, yeah, at some point in time, I do want these other things. And so I do, like, of course, do people overplay this idea of love languages at time? Yeah, sure. But I do get the premise of what he's saying. And it's basically saying, look, everybody has at least one or two of these 5 things that they strive for, that they want,
It's a
right?
placebo.
Now, see, a placebo to me, a placebo one, that's more of a medical term. That's just like something where you say, okay, we're going to
Exactly.
give
It's made up by a human. Yeah.
no, we're going to give a control group. Like basically, that's a scientific thing, man. No,
Uh-huh.
see, placebo is more of a hey, you give these guys a water pill instead of the actual medicine, and see if there's a
Right.
difference in how they think, right? But no,
Yeah.
this to me is saying, okay, how can you define what it is you want in a relationship, right? So a person is
Sure.
saying, hey, these are the things that for instance, a person might say, like, these are ways I show love, right? So for instance, the new one you just mentioned, cooking, right? I know
I hear you.
there are definitely people that I know that say they love to show how they express love through their food, through their cooking. They love to see their mate happy with a plate of food that they've made for them. That is how they show love. That's something that, I'm sure you've heard from your grandparents at some point in time. They love to see their family eat their food and be happy and be content and be full and stuffed, right? Those are all aspects of love languages. So I do think that it
Uh-huh.
is very much a real thing. I just think that some people might not like it, but to me, it makes perfect
There's
sense.
little to no evidence that supports the idea of specific love languages being essential for a successful relationship. Like zero evidence. So what you're saying is all just based off feeling, not facts.
No, but you're thinking about this as a scientific study, and at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, no, this is not a science.
It,
All
it
this is
is.
saying
Everything's
is
with science. What do you
no,
mean?
no, 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 it's not. Not in this case, and I'll tell you why. Because again, this is not a scientific theory where we're saying, oh, okay, if we showed this group of people love, then this other group over here might want. No, that's not what this is. This is basically saying, how do you want to be loved? How do you want to show your love, right?
Mhm.
So, for instance, if I say my love language is this, this, and this, then typically that's the way I'm going to express it to my partner, right? So now, like for let's say, for instance, your love language is physical touch, but your partner She might not like that. She might be like, I don't need that. My thing is gifts and quality time, right? But in your mind, all you've been doing is giving her what you've wanted in return. The whole
Mm.
point of the love language is for you to understand that you know how to love a person the way they want to be loved.
I don't need a love
Not
language to tell me
not
how
the
to love
way
somebody or how
no,
to
it's
be
not
loved.
that. No, you're oversimplifying it. It's not so much
Mm.
about loving the person because we love the person. It's about how do we show it in the way they want to receive it. You get
Mm.
what I'm saying? So if a person says, "Hey, I want to spend time with you," but we never make time, or we don't make enough time,
Okay. So now I'm
are we
getting put
really
into that
showing them the
category
love they
because I
want to
want to
see?
spend time.
Huh?
Doesn't make sense. So now I'm gonna be put into a category of quality time is my love language because I want to spend time. Is that what you're saying?
No, no. What I'm saying to you is like if your girlfriend says to you, hey, I want to spend more time with you. I love quality time, right? But you're saying, well, I don't really want to spend time, but when I do spend time with you, I want to touch all over you and I want to bring you gifts, right? You see what I'm saying? Because in your mind, your love language is physical touch and giving gifts. But her love language is I want to spend time with you, right? So the whole point of this study is to be able to understand how each person wants to receive it. So that way the person that is giving it knows how to give it. You see what I'm saying?
Labels. That's all I see. I see labels, and
Okay.
I can't get behind that.
Okay, but
I'm saying this is who I am. I'm a physical toucher. I'm a gift giver, and that's my love. That's my love language. That's not.
why do you say it's not? If that's clearly what you do, then
I
why is
love
it
doing
not?
it, but doesn't mean that's my love language.
So what would you say it is?
I wouldn't
If you
know.
had to say if you had to say you had a love language, what would it be?
If I had to make up a love language that's not real, let's
Why you
see.
say it's not real? Why do you say it's not real?
Because it's like I'm telling someone I love them and then classifying it under something to make it even more real, which is just stupid to me.
But classifying it is what makes it easier to understand. If you
Doesn't
think
everything
about
have to be
anything that
understood though?
exists, we have to
Love
classify it.
doesn't have to be understood.
That's not true. So you think love doesn't have to be understood?
You can love something or someone and not understand why you love them. That is a thing.
No, I don't think you
That
could ever
that for
love someone
sure is a thing.
unless it's a parent or a sibling. There's no way to me you can love someone and not know why you
All
like
right,
if you
for people who are listening, I want you to write in the comments if you're hearing
yes.
this, and definitely write if there is a possibility that you can love someone without knowing why you love them. Whenever you're with someone, right, and you say, "Man, I love you. I don't even know why I love you so much." You ever hear people say that all the time? I don't know why I love you so much.
Yeah, I mean
And it's that digging deep, trying to understand what it is about the person that you really love. And so many people say that so often to where it has to be real. No one's saying something, and to your point, no one says something to make it fake, right? We say things because they're real. We classify things because they're real. So my thing is that if I'm loving someone and I don't know why I love them, it doesn't make it fake. It doesn't make it, um, not real. It just makes it a mystery.
but
And
how could but let me ask you this though. But how can you love somebody without understanding why, right? Because to me the only way you can love somebody is if you're spending a whole bunch of time around them,
nope,
right? Nope.
I disagree with that.
So how is it possible
You can
you
love
can
someone.
how can you develop
Have you ever
love
heard
for
of love at first
someone?
sight?
I don't believe in that bullshit. I don't believe in love at first sight. And I'll tell you why. I believe
Okay,
in attraction at first sight,
okay,
but I don't believe in love at first sight. I
all
think
right.
that's just a term that people just coined and wanted to use. But there's no way a person could say,
Like I
like, can
said,
you
thing about
say,
love languages.
no, no, no. And see,
There's the
look,
argument. I mean, you're giving me
no,
the same argument that I'm giving you, right? You don't believe
there's
it.
no way you could say it's love at first sight if you don't know
There's
the
been
person.
studies on that too, right?
Love is not something that just develops immediately.
So
It's
how would you
attraction
know?
at first sight. It's attraction at first sight. And then as you get to know the person, you love them. Because there's plenty of people that we could say are beautiful. And then as soon as they open their mouth, we're like, whoa, like stay that way. Like go
Talk that way, Dragon Breath.
that and just like what they're saying. Like what they're saying could be complete bullshit. Like so to me, that whole love at first sight thing is just a saying. It's popular and whatever, but I don't believe in it. I don't subscribe to that. Yes, have I been attracted to in fact,
Hit that
my
unsubscribe button, bro. No love.
But yeah, like to me, I don't think that's a real thing. I think that love
Oh,
is something that develops over time because love is something that requires action, right? You think
mm,
about what love is, love requires you to take action, whether that's to better yourself, whether that's to protect the person that you're with, whether that's to show love to the person you're with. Like You can't just love someone off a rip, off of just seeing them. You can like them. You can want to know more about them, but love that comes with.
I disagree with that. I think love is the thing that stretches far past darkness and light in this world. I truly believe that. I think that love transcends everything. And I love hard when I love. I don't love quick, but I love hard. But I've met people who have said they love me, within the first day, within the first month, within the first year, right? I've seen that and they express it. And over time, they go on to love someone else, etc. Right? Because love is not just singular. You can love a plethora of people, right? There's no limitation to how much you can love or who you can love.
Now that is an interesting thought. So you believe it's possible to love. Now, look, I will say that it is possible to love more than one person, and of course for different reasons, right? But that would mean you have to spend time with that other person that you should have been devoting to the person that you were loving as well. So to me, it's like love can't happen. But you can have different types of love, right? Like you can have what they call agape love, which is basically where it's like
You said
I just
agave?
can't agape.
I was like, bro, I'm thirsty actually.
This
Yeah,
guy's got tequila
make
on the
some
brain.
tequila for Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo. But no, no, real talk though. Like I think that that's the thing. Agape love, which is basically I just care for your well being, right? And that's love for everyone, right? But romantic love is different. That love requires time, requires you to spend much of your effort with a specific person, and it's impossible to do that with more than one person. That's why for me, I can never tell two people at a time. I think it's very manipulative to be
I
able
don't
to
know.
do
You kind of told me you love me the other day, so
pause.
no
I only
play,
told you that. I only told you that
play.
because I didn't want you to go jump in front of the cars.
Shut up. I was drunk. There's loving someone and being in love. Now, I truly believe in that. I do believe that you can be in love with more than one person at the same time. I've never experienced it myself. I just know that it's possible based off of my past and people that I've spoken to, friends, exes, friends of friends. They're honest with themselves. If you're honest with yourself and honest with the partner that you're with, and you mentioned, hey, you know what? Before I was talking to you, I was talking to this other person. Didn't work out. We loved each other. We love each other. I still have mad love for her, but I'd like to go out with you, right? I'm pretty sure people have experienced that in their past as well, where this person loves someone else, but that it's not working out. So now they're going to try with you because that avenue is now cut off, but the feelings is still there. So it is definitely possible, given the circumstances, to love multiple people at the same time, being in love.
I don't know how much I agree with that. Like I do think it's possible to love someone and care about their well being. Right. So for instance, you can have an ex who you'll do anything for him, right?
If you do
But
anything for them, that's in love. I mean, that's a big one. Doing anything, your limit to
I
when
mean,
you can
look,
go.
look. I think that there should be limits to that, though. Like, especially if you're with someone new, there should be limits to what you will do for somebody you used to talk to, especially if you don't have kids with them or anything like that, right? There should be a limit. But in terms of just doing certain things for them, making sure, for instance, they got a flat tire, you can get somebody out there. Maybe you'll go take care of it for them, stuff like that, whatever the case might be. Okay, but I think that there are limits to
Mhm.
what you can do for someone that's no longer your girlfriend. That's
Oh,
your
absolutely, absolutely.
wife.
But we're
But
talking
yeah,
about loving multiple people, right? You
yeah.
can definitely.
You mean, but do you mean romantically?
There's Mormons out there for a reason. What do you mean?
Is what?
Mormons, they have multiple wives. What do you mean?
That doesn't mean they love them.
Yeah, they're with them.
No, my point is, it doesn't. Just because they're with them doesn't mean they love them.
We can only speculate.
They could be very well be in that relationship
We can
because
only speculate on that. I know I have a few Mormon friends, and trust me, the love is real. And one of them is actually in a relationship with her husband.
polygamous.
Hmm?
You
Not
said
not no no. It's he has multiple wives. He has two wives. So her and someone else.
sister wives. Is that that's the whole sister wife thing? I think they do that in Mormon
Yeah, yeah,
country.
yeah. And I was also with someone who um, his name's God, I forgot his name, but I used to work with him way in the past. But he's from Nigeria, and he's cannot say from the top of my head what religion he was, but he has multiple wives as well. He has one in Atlanta, one in New York, and he has one back at home. So you know, and he's like, I love each and every one of them. They all have their different roles to play. I have a relationship with all of them. It's healthy. They all have businesses. I support them. This and that. And I got curious when he said that because I heard the word roles. I'm like, what do you mean by that? They have roles to play. He goes, well, with the business back at home, she's in charge of that, and her role is to, look over the business while I'm away. One over here is to her role is to be a mother, stay at home, care for the child. Another one, she's a professor, and her role is to look after the other two and make sure that they're doing well. I thought that was so unique, right? So, assigned roles in relationships, right? What's your take on that?
I think that it should be
And
very
monogamous relationships,
yeah,
monogamous.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was about to say, no, that was a good, interesting caveat that you mentioned before with him being from Nigeria and having multiple wives, right? I'm thinking, of course, more traditional Western, societal norms and
Mhm.
relationships, right? So you're not even really thinking about that. And I could see where if you have the ability to have a polygamous relationship, you can love different people in different ways, right? Because you have the time to do so.
The world is very small.
Yeah, it is. But to your point though, I think in roles and relationships, I think it's cool to be flexible.
Mhm.
You have to be willing to maybe give up certain things that you feel you should do as a man and vice versa as a woman. I feel, a man should not feel that he can never cook or clean or do any of the things that, typically a woman would do. You should be
Mhm.
flexible enough to do those things and know how to cook and know how to clean and know how to season food and know how to prep it a certain way, make sure it's hot for your mate. I think it's possible to be able to do those things for her, just like you would want them to do her those things for you. I think it's like to me roles these days, especially today's day and age, it's not the same. I think that you have a lot of women who are career women. They're working. They're doing what they love to do, and a lot of times you could even offer, "Hey, I want you to stay home," and they would say, "No, I don't want to stay home.
They want their
I
own
don't
money.
care." Yeah, I want to make my own money. I don't want to have to ask for anything. I don't want to have to wait. I want to do what I want to do, and
Right.
I appreciate that. I admire that.
That's great. I believe the same thing. I mean, if I'm with a woman who, wants to have less of a role in the working field, that's a conversation, right? For me, I like it when, she has her thing going because she's busy, I'm busy, we make time for each other. It makes making time for each other that much more important when it comes to just watching TV, shooting the shit, going out for a drink, playing board games, or I don't know, sitting around looking at people walk away and talking shit about them. That's like the best fucking pastime ever. But I believe that when it comes to roles, there's an argument there, right? There can be the relationship where the one wants to stay home, she wants to cook, she wants to clean, she wants to have a child, or maybe not, or cater to the dogs and cater to the housework. And when it comes to all the things that come with that, right? And the man has to do all the things that he has to do. Being the man, that's traditional. Me, I'm just so open when it comes to that. I love I love a woman in power. I feel like they they have what it takes to, um, you know, get me to shut the fuck up. They have what it takes to tell me that I'm wrong and that I need to, take a breather or take a walk. I can be stubborn at times, and having someone tell me that, I'm not so much argumentative when it comes to that. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let me go take a fucking walk. Or you know what? Go to the bar, have yourself a drink, come back when you're like, chill. All right, cool. Fuck, did I just what?
Did you just
How did
kick
I get
me
to the
out?
bar? How did where'd this drink come from? And I love that, and I don't mind giving off that power, right? Because I'm a very masculine, very dominant person, but I also know how to ease up with my partner, with my person. And
Yeah,
if I don't ease up, then that just makes me a piece of shit. And now I have to think about those things, and I have to cool myself off. And I have had those moments. I'm not perfect, right? Where I do get hot headed and I say things that I shouldn't have said and what have you. And I just need to go for a walk. I need to chill the fuck out, play some Pokemon Go, talk to friends and family, just talk about whatever that's just far away from what just happened, and get my mind off of it. Come back, feel at ease, have that conversation, apologize, work on it, hear her out, 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 and then go on about
yeah.
loving her.
I can't lie to you. I'm the same way. Like I feel I've always been around strong women. So to me, a strong woman that's just like, look, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna go get it, and then I'm gonna come home for my kids and make dinner, and then I'm gonna take a nice little bath for myself. I'm gonna clean up the house, and then I'm gonna take a nap. Like I love that. Like that to me is the dopest thing in the world to see because they own it. Like they own their shit, you know, and
Yep.
it's beautiful to be able to see a woman that is just in that energy for herself, but at the same time it makes you want to do for her as well. Like when I see, my woman doing that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run you a bath. When you get home, I'm
Mhm.
gonna put that bubble bath together for you. I'm gonna give you a nice little massage. I'm gonna get the oils out. I'm gonna treat you right, and it's not even so
I don't
much a
see
sexual.
nothing wrong.
I was about to say, it's not even a sexual thing. Sometimes for me, it's just like, yo, I just want to make sure you feel relaxed. You can come home, you know that somebody's actually looking out for you, and you're going to be in a place where you can finally just let loose and put your hair down. So, like, when you come stay with me, if you coming for the weekend, you don't have to lift a finger, right? Because I know what you did at home. I know you were running around with your kids. I want to make sure that when you're here, you could just lay back. We could chill. We could literally order DoorDash online and just watch movies, look outside, watch the skyline. We can not do anything. We can lay in the bed all day if you want.
Mhm.
That's the way I tend to approach that type of woman. I love that, and to me, it's dope. And like so, sometimes you might have women who are also very dominant. Like they just have certain ways that they want to be in a relationship. And sometimes you have to figure out the right ways to navigate them. Like sometimes, of course, when they're dominant, sometimes they might want to have dominance over your privacy as well, right? So there might be times when they're like, well, I want to be able to see your phone, or they might make subtle hints to say, hey, like, what are you up to? What are you doing over there? Who are you talking to? Just kind of
Yeah.
brings up that whole idea of privacy in relationships. And is there such a thing as privacy in a relationship? Like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, there is privacy in a relationship. Absolutely. Listen, you live under the same roof. All your actions are being monitored 24/7. Eyes wander. That's what we do. We're human, right? You lift a finger, we're looking. You walk away, we're looking. You go to the bathroom, we're looking. You close on the door, we're asking us the question, why is the door closed? Like there's so many things that go on to, not having privacy, especially when you're living together. Now, when it comes to your phone, if you're talking to your boys or you're talking to work or you're, looking at auctions or whatever, right? Whatever you do on your phone, that's your fucking business. Now, if it's awkward and it's late at night and they're, turning over to look over the phone, that's a different story. Like, why are you on your phone turned over, right? There's little things that create suspicion. But if you're just out on your phone and you're just chilling and you get asked, like, what are you looking at? Let me see your phone. Let me go through it. Fuck no. That's my phone. I don't ask you that. Like, whatever you have going on in your personal life, you need that. You need that space where you can just do what the fuck you want to do, look at what you want to look at, and talk to whoever you want to talk to respectfully, right? Not in any way, shape, or form, disrespectfully. But that's your shit. Don't come at me with, I want to see who you're talking to. I want to know what you're looking at. I want to know what's making you smile. If I'm fucking smiling on my phone, that's because something's very funny, and I most likely sent it to you in a DM on Instagram. Look at your fucking DMs. Kane
Right.
knows.
You'll see what I'm laughing at.
I send so much shit. Like if I find something funny, I'm sending it to all my friends. That's it. And I want other people to laugh at what I'm laughing at because this is fucking hilarious. I guess if we're going back to love languages real quick, that's my love language, making other people laugh. Ha ha ha. Just made it up. It's the seventh one in the world, guys. So my thing is, yeah, there's privacy on relationships. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm of the same mind too. I think that you should have a healthy privacy, right? Like there should be certain things that you can do on your phone. And of course, you have to build that trust too. I think everybody starts off with that trust in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I trust you when you're on your phone, you're not sitting there talking to somebody else.
No, because you don't want to scare them off.
But that trust gets eroded over time, depending on how you've been moving. If there's certain behaviors you have and somebody notices something about you, maybe just certain things you don't do. Maybe you don't answer the phone immediately when they call. Maybe, just certain things that might spark a level of distrust. I think you have to be able to know that, okay, the reason why they're asking this, because sometimes when they ask you these questions, it's not even so much a thing where you get upset. It's like, well, what did I do that makes you ask me? Because again, they don't start off this way. So sometimes it's a thing where
Right.
maybe you have to say, okay, you got to be reflective. Did I do something that she didn't like? Did I say something that she didn't like? Did I have wandering eyes somewhere that maybe I shouldn't have. And I have an ex that she will tell you to this day, she used to think that I saw every fat ass that walked past me.
You probably did.
And I mean, look, I got the third eye,
Peripheral.
baby. You know what I'm saying? But my thing, but my thing is this: if I'm looking away, like I make sure in certain situations, I don't even look in that direction because you know who you're dealing with. Like there's some women who are like, look, I don't want you to look at anyone else but me.
Mhm.
That's it. And you got some women that'll tap you and be like, yo, you see that
Yo,
ass right
high
there? Like,
five. Bam. I
yo,
was
word,
lit.
like high five on that shit,
See
you
how
know?
that bubbled? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. Like I like women that could do that. Like, but at the same time, I like a woman that is a little bit more like, no, I am your center of attention. That to me is kind of adorable too. I can't lie. That's just pretty sexy.
Honestly, that is sweet. I like it when a woman does that. It's like, no, 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 no. Check me out.
Hmm.
That just fucking gets me excited. I'm
Yeah,
like,
man.
yo, we gotta leave. We gotta leave. We gotta leave right now. Let's go.
Check, please. Check,
check,
please.
check right now. And after that, let's go back to the hotel, to the apartment. One of the things that one of my exes used to do, and she was obsessed with, was always getting dressed for the occasion. No matter, it could be just wanting to have normal sex, needs to get dressed, whole outfit on. I respectfully do not care for outfits. I'm like, it's gonna come off anyways. Just let's go right here. Let's do it.
Right. Let's just
Let's
get
go
to
crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted more of like foreplay for me is kissing, touching, massage, whatever, right? The outfits do nothing for me when it comes to foreplay. It just gets me frustrated because I'm like, no, I have to tear that shit off, right? It's like, how do you unbuckle this shit? Do you loose it? Do you loop it twice, 3 times? What the fuck? Ah, just rip it off, Hulk style this
it.
bitch, right? And sometimes when I go home from work, I hear, wait, 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 wait. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm way at the door. Oh yeah, you can come in, and then there's candlelit, and there's the outfit, and big old surprise, right? Me, I fucking hate surprises. I cannot deal with it. I am like, no, 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 just lay down, butt ass naked, and I'm gonna feast. Like that's my thing, right? Which leads me on to this next thing, right? It's topics. It's surprises. Surprises really um get to me because I rather just know shit. I don't like having surprises for birthday or gifts or whatever noticeable. I'm appreciative, but I always hate surprises. What's your take on surprises?
You know what? I'm not averse to a nice surprise. I don't mind them at all. And honestly, going back to the whole lingerie or outfit talk, like it's crazy to me what a thong can do. Like, it's wild to me how something so small on a woman's body can literally get me to a point where I'm like, yo, I gotta have you now. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like booty shorts.
oh yeah, like the boy shorts. I love those.
I think I like the booty shorts more than the thong.
Yeah, I like them both. Like to me, a thong though is just like, man, there's just something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just nice. Like I feel like I have still there's still a barrier there that I have to get through. So even though I still see it all, it's still like, wow, I still have to do some work to
Bring your
get
passport.
what I want.
God
I got to
damn.
get some stamps on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Here's my
But
stamp.
no,
I'm gonna bite that ass.
but no, real talk. Like that's one of the things for me. I do love a nice outfit. Like man, there's nothing like when my girl will come in and she'll have on a sexy ass outfit, and it's just like, oh my god, like that looks amazing. Especially when they have the body for it. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's
I don't care for Drake, but this verse, sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on, that right there is probably the best line I've heard in many years, bro. It's
oh
it's
yeah.
one of my things, right? So if I see you with sweatpants and your hair is tied or up and you have no makeup on, I'm telling you right now, that gets me going. I appreciate a woman who gets dressed up when we're going out, makeup and all that. You're beautiful. But when you have just that raw beauty, that is the biggest turn on for me. I think that's probably one of my biggest turn ons, right? So when I'm first meeting somebody, right, and what I'm attracted to the most has to be, obviously if they're wearing a lot of makeup, I'm always curious about what they look like without makeup because in my mind, I want to see your raw beauty because that's gonna make me go wild, right? And if your raw beauty is like some of these girls on Instagram who looks completely horrid and they use makeup and all that
Yeah.
shit to make you look, I'm running.
that should be illegal, by the way.
It's a
You should.
crime. It's a
That
crime.
is a crime.
That's you
And
talk about
that
catfishing.
goes
That's
for
demon
men
fishing.
too. That
That's
goes for
demon
fellas
fishing.
too. Like, look, I've seen a lot of women, like you said, they'll go through these transformations where they look hideous, like without makeup on. And then they put on this makeup, and of course you could tell they're made up, but they look completely different. That to me should not be allowed. Like that's a costume. And even for guys, like guys that go and get, they'll have the full
Cosplay,
Sherman, they'll have the full George Jefferson look where, they don't have no hair at the top of their head, but only the sides, and then they get the piece on top, and it looks like a straight up like Caesar fade. My thing is, yo, just
bro. I
go
hate that.
bald. Just go
Listen,
bald, bro.
go
Like,
ball, baby.
you know what I'm
Oh, I
saying? Like,
love
do
that. I
your
love
thing.
that.
Like
Head
me,
look like a bottle sack, but
I
that's
got
fine.
some time to go,
All right,
but
fuck you with your hair. Anyway,
but
dickhead.
my point is, you know what I'm saying? Look, but my thing is like, look, just be real about what you have. Don't front, because eventually you're gonna have to tell them, yeah, I lost my hair, like, some years ago. Meanwhile, they've only seen you with this full head of hair and just a really dope cut. My thing, like, why do that? And I know
Yeah,
that to me is just is goofy. So and it goes for women too. Like I believe, and listen, some women need that confidence booster to feel better about themselves. But to me, is and I understand that. But when you no longer look like yourself, when you are not who you really are naturally to be, that to me is when it's a little bit concerning. Like everybody, do what you need to do to feel better. Like do what you need to do to give you that confidence boost to go outside. But my thing is leave some of the real you in there too. So that way I can
yeah.
say, okay, I see you.
I agree with you on that. And one of the things that I look at again when I'm first meeting someone, that physical attraction against the face. I want to see if we're wearing a lot of makeup, light makeup, right? That matters to me. Not only that, it's not just the face, but if your hands. I don't want someone who has man hands, respectfully. And what I mean by that, you can have rough hands from working in the yard, whatever, right? But if your hands are bigger than mine, I have a huge hands. If your hands are bigger than mine, I can't do it. But if you're tall, right? Because I dated someone who was 6'8", right? And her hands were just a little bigger than mine. That's understandable. You're 6'8". But if you're like 5'5" and your shit's looking like Victor Wembanyama's hand, then we gotta go the other separate directions. So it's the hands, it's the face. And the face obviously comes with a smile, eyes, a whole enchilada. The last thing I would say has to be I like a good like a good neck, right? Where I love kissing, right? That's my main thing. Like I enjoy kissing, and obviously, if I'm with her, I enjoy having my head in her shoulder. Yes, I do that. I love that feeling of just feeling vulnerable with my person. So often I have my guard up, and I have all these walls protecting me and the people that I'm surrounded with. But when I'm in, the home together with them, and it's just us, I'll become vulnerable. I let my guard down, and if my head's on your shoulder or on your chest, know that that's real, right? And so I look for these things, right? And not saying that they have to be perfect, but this is just physical attraction. That's before getting to know them. So for you, what are the top three things that you look at when you're first seeing someone?
But to me, a beautiful smile is important. Beautiful smile. I really love a beautiful what?
I made a face.
No, to me, it's important to be able to have a nice smile, just a beautiful face in general. Like, I just want to be able to look at your face and be like, damn, like, there's someone right here. She's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
It's not your
She's
beauty,
gorgeous.
it's your booty. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And for me, I love a woman that has hip. Like,
Ooh,
if you
yeah.
got hips, like, and it just has to be a nice hip to thigh ratio. So as long as you got, and they don't have to be big. It just has to be something that is proportionate to your body. If you have those three things for me, like that's
So it was smile, hips, and what's the other one?
face, just like a pretty face.
Pretty face. Now, if you're wearing sandals, best believe that is on the top, because I need to see if you have pretty feet. And if you have them chip nails, we are going to the salon right afterward, and it's on me.
Yeah, to me that's weird. If you going out, especially if it's a first date and you coming out with a chip nail.
One date that I've been on, this was in Prospect Park in Brooklyn. We were meeting up there. It was on a Saturday. There was a farmer's market that was out, and I'm meeting her in the middle of the park because she has a dog. So I'm going to the farmer's market, getting coffee, going over to meet her. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be good. This is a nice day. It's beautiful out. All these dogs are out. Oh, man. And I'm meeting this beautiful woman. And she was beautiful. Oh, my gosh. Beyond. And this is when I turned to Shallow Hal. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. I look down and she has these finger toes, and they were like all long. Pinky was long. Pinky is about the size of my index toe. It was just
What?
really. I'm sorry, my pointing finger toe. Yeah, it was just big, crazy. So all this was just super long, and I'm like, whoa, how tall is she, right? So so I was like, how tall is she? She was 5'7". So what shoe you wear? She goes, size 12 women's. So it's size. I'm not even.
Yo,
And
that's crazy.
I hate to say it, not trying to pick, but them be some gorilla feet. That shit was hands. She had 4 hands, bro. She had 4 hands.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, that was some insane shit, and she was gripping those sandals when she was walking, like, on all ends. That's when when you
See,
know, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. See, I can't be with one whose toes curl over the shoe. If you got sandals on, no, especially if we on the subway together, that means your feet have been touching the subway floor. Like, I don't know. I mean, and listen, you might be beautiful. I'm sorry, but it's a thing for me. I can't do it.
Yeah, just, none of that, yeah, I mean, not everyone's like that, she's probably just a unique case, but it was really tough. I couldn't stop looking at it, I couldn't, and she was, like I think she was, like, Lebanese and, Lebanese and Spanish or whatever, but yeah, she was pretty. She had some. I wonder what she looked like in heels. That's what really got me, like, open toe heels, I
You
wonder.
know, yeah, that's an interesting point. I've been with some women who are really, like everybody has some trait that you might see and be like, I can tolerate this, or it might not be something that you necessarily like. Like we all have them, right? We all have something that's like,
My nose is a little big, so, I mean, I get it.
like I have some trait, my head's a little big, so I get it. Like everybody has certain traits on them that is just like, everybody has something, right?
Yeah, I mean, you live in New
Um,
Jersey, that's
when you live in like the dump fields of New York or
Can you stop being so rude for a moment? Jeez.
California,
Why are we attacking each other?
what can I say, But no, real talk. Like I think it's one of those things where you just have to be accepting of who you see, and it's the things that make you attracted, right? Like
Mhm.
and it's funny. Like every single person has something different, like what their triggers are, like what attracts me to a specific person. One thing I can say though is when it comes time to actually do, I hate when women try to leave marks, and I feel like some women do that sometimes when they're trying to mark territory, and I've figured that out. And so this happened to me some time ago where, I remember one time I was with a girl. Honestly, we weren't really together. We were just kicking it. And I had also been with another young lady some time later. And so I go back, right, to the old girl, and then she looks at my back and she was like, "Is that a scratch on your back? Like who scratched you up?" And it wasn't like a simple like one scratch. It was like on both
Back scratcher.
sides. Yeah, it was on both sides. So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "Like there's legit scratch marks on both sides of your back." And I'm like, why did she do that? Like, and so it just made me, even in the moment, like I don't like that. I don't like pain like that on my back. Like, don't scratch my back. I don't care how good it is. Like, just keep your hands to yourself. Don't scratch me up. And no hickeys. Like, that's another thing for me
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Um,
I can't do that.
and I get it. Don't get me wrong. Does it feel a certain way? It feels good. Yeah, sure. But don't leave a mark because I'm not just here in my house. I got to go into the office. I got to go sit in a boardroom or in a meeting, and I can't have a big ass like hickey on my neck. Like they're gonna be like, "What is this guy doing? Like, what is he up to here? What is he 17 or something?" Like it's gonna look weird. I don't like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I don't really care. I like it when they're kissing it, and I do feel the tension whenever I get kissed on the neck. I always feel like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it?
Me
Right?
too. I'm
And
like,
then I do the whole sly like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, let's keep kissing, right? Like, or if she's going like to kiss my neck again, I'll be like, oh yeah, kiss my chest, like
I do that
don't
too.
kiss my neck. That's exposure. I don't want to go out and be like, oh yeah, we got to deter this person because you know what, they already have someone, or yeah, they have like, no, that's not my thing.
Yeah,
If
I don't
I'm
want
not
to be
with
able.
you,
I don't want anybody to be able to tell I just had sex. Like, no, there's no
no,
way you
no,
should be able to tell it.
like,
I completely
leave,
agree.
leave it where the sun don't shine. Sure,
That's
but
yeah, and that's my thing too. Like, I'll if a girl says, "Hey, I want a mark from you" or something like that. Okay, cool. I'll leave it in a place where I know you can cover it up.
right on the ass, smack, like Like, I remember I smacked someone so hard. She had a big ass. I smacked her so hard. The welt literally was just forming. It was this huge
Yeah.
welt, black and blue and everything. Because she was like smacking as hard as you can. I'm like, okay.
Yo, that
I
scares me. Like when a girl says that, I'll be like, no,
but on the
trust me,
butt, she had a big butt. So I'm like, you know what?
you don't want me to do that. I'll be like, yo, I'll be shook. I'll be like, yo, I'm telling you, I got a heavy hand. Please don't
Damn.
do it. Yo,
I didn't do it as hard as I could, but I just hit a nice little smack. I remember the welt and the yelp that she had, and I thought to myself, "Oh shit, did I fuck up?" But she was like, "Do it again." I'm like, "Nah." I'm looking at it right now, and it's doing all sorts of things. Like it's changing all sorts of colors. You don't want that again, right? That's just my thing. I don't care for hickeys. I don't care for all that. I do love kissing. I do love all those things, like let's kiss each other, all over, but let's not leave marks or even back scratches. I don't care for that. Like,
yeah,
especially when I'm showering and I have to feel the
yeah,
on my back and it's hurting. I'm like, I don't want to remember you like that. I want to remember you with passion, excitement, and with this overwhelming emotion of I want more of her.
right,
This right here is like that's the last of her I'm ever gonna have.
right,
Right.
right.
So that's my thing.
Yeah, that honestly that brings up a question of like just ideas around sex and some of the influence that have kind of played on our brains as men, right? And I think that when you think about sex overall, you think about porn, right? Like, and there's so much access to it now. Like, I was reading an article talking about how porn is like $1 billion industry. And in fact, technology is always like porn is always on the cutting edge of technology. And I thought that that was very interesting. They said like when the internet first came around, first one of the first things they put on the internet was porn sites.
That's interesting.
you
That is
know,
interesting.
and even when you think about AI, you see a lot of porn and AI now. Like if you look at Instagram, there's fake women out there, like AI pages of women that exist. Virtual reality, they're trying to find ways in which to make the sexual experience more tactile, like basically giving you gloves and things with a visor that you can see and touch and feel what it's like to have sex with a virtual person. And to me, I think that it can have a distorting effect on men in general, how we view sex. A lot of times we over sexualize women. We become desensitized in a way to sex in general. So sometimes,
Mhm.
maybe there's been, reports of some guys who can't even really get excited because they've seen so much porn. Their minds are now twisted. So when it's time for the real thing, they can't do what they need to do.
It's fantasies not living up to the expectations of reality. And I get that. It's super important to remember that women are different in our minds. We tend to put into place this image of what we believe ourselves to achieve. And we may not achieve that. We may not achieve having someone who has porn star looks or porn star abilities, can't do all the things that they can do, right? They may be starfish, they may be pretty lazy in bed, or they may, suck your dick like a fish out of water, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's horrible. It's true, right? And then that happens. And sometimes what also happens when I did my little research on this actually is men think about all the other women that they have thought about and fantasized about, and they're doing all that while they're with that person. And there was an account of this person saying, I had to think of, this porn star while I was having sex to keep myself hard. And that is fucking wild to me. First off, if I'm having sex with you, I don't want to think about other people.
Right, right.
I want to think about you. And, if I'm going limp because I'm with you,
That's a bigger problem. Right.
now, it could be stress. It could be
Yeah.
that I'm, thinking about all the other things that are in my life. It could be that, I have A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and all in the middle going on, and it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me and my mental state, right? But if I'm like a person who jerks off every day and I'm going up on you, I'm fucking to blame, right? So I think that it is taken away from real intimacy. It is taken away from, having that ultimate feeling with your person. Minutemen, those guys are real. They're now becoming, 10-second men, right? They're already in it and out. They're done. They can't last. They don't have that performance that is needed in the bedroom because they're too busy whacking themselves off whenever they're not with you. And it's so
Mhm.
funny. It brings me over to Kevin Hart. when he has a stand up. He goes, "All right, babe, I'll see you." He goes, "I'm gonna beat my dick. I'm gonna beat my dick." And to that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
it's very real. Takes out the tissues, takes
Laptop.
out the lotion, the laptop, and he goes, "And shit, I thought you were leaving." Like, goddamn, right? But when you when you think
I'm gonna
about
watch
that,
that tonight. I'm gonna watch that today. Yo.
I
This
watched it
shit
the
was
other day. It's
hilarious.
hilarious. But to that point, like men, that's what men do. They wait until they're gone, and then they go on and they look at things that they want to fantasize about. And you have to look on the flip side. What is their partner doing or not doing that they're fantasizing about? And where's the communication from the man to the woman talking about what they need, what they want? And if they're having that conversation, is it a healthy one? Is she saying, or even in reverse, is she telling him, like, hey, I need more of this, I need more of that? And is he or she getting upset with the conversation and then it turns into an argument, right? There needs to be this constructive conversation between both parties saying, hey, you know what? I'm wanting more of this in the bedroom and I'm not receiving it. And I would like more of that. Can you do that for me? And there should be the conversation. And at the end saying, you know what? You're my partner. You're the only one I'm with. You're the one I want to make happy. You're the one I want to make, feel good as if you're on cloud 9,000, right? Yes, I am open to it, right? And if you are not doing that for your partner, and if you're not taking those bounds, those leaps to make them feel good, to make them feel satisfied, you're fucking up. And that can ruin your relationship completely.
You know what? Yeah, you're 100% right, man. I
All
think
right.
you have to be able to have a conversation about what they like, right? Because I think, again, with porn, you just see men kind of taking care of themselves, right? It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, the woman is there, but she's a vessel.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, you have to be more willing to say, okay, or just like having an open conversation with your mate, like, what is it you like, what don't you like, is there something that we could do better? And you'll find out sometimes they have a list. They might be like, oh yeah, we could do this, we could try that,
Checking
and
it
we could
twice.
yeah, 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 like, and so, but having an open conversation is mature. You have to be able to have that conversation because you don't want your woman going without. You don't want her saying, well, I wish he did this more, I really like this, but this is what he likes, so I'm cool. Like, I would hate that.
Right.
I would hate knowing that, my woman wanted something more from me, but didn't vocalize it.
Yeah, and then you have Chad who's gonna come over here and fucking give her the world.
That's the
And she's gonna be
same
like,
shot.
well, you know what? Why'd you cheat on me? Well, Chad does all the things that I want you to do, but you never did. And now I have Chad. I'm saying Chad because that's just a fucking douche name. So, oh yeah, like the Chad, right? Oh, and for the men out there who can't get hard, or you know what, you're having trouble, and now you're wanting to give your all, dipping your balls in cold ice water actually helps. Chewing on raw garlic in the morning, afterwards brush your teeth, all these things.
Please, please
Yeah,
don't brush that.
yeah, this is like, men, I'm telling you right now, this is very healthy if you are having trouble, and this is the organic way, as opposed to getting Hims
Viagra and all that.
or
Yeah.
Viagra, right? Talking about Viagra, that fucking reel you sent me was stupid as fuck, man.
Yeah.
So for for purposes here, guys, let me tell you
It
right
was
now.
hilarious.
Cayne sent me this message, and it was a dude who crushed Viagra, put it into his girl's Red Bull. She was drinking it, and she got horny as fuck. And it was wild how intense she got. And he's laughing, recording the whole thing. She's twerking on the fucking wall, and her parents trying to get him to fucking have sex. Craziest fucking thing. And I was laughing so hard.
She was rapping. She was like,
She
"Get
was
over here! Like, I want
crazy.
you now! Like, come upstairs!"
It's getting
And she's
hot in
standing up. She's
here.
standing on the steps. She's like,
She goes, we're gonna have sex. He's like, I'm gonna go to your parents. They're like,
and
where's she
it was
at?
adorable to see. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think Viagra had that type of effect. I've never used before, so it was just interesting to see. Like a woman have that kind of reaction. I just thought Viagra was just, like kept your dick hard. I didn't think it was like a stimulant,
Man,
a mental stimulant.
I took Viagra once.
Oh yeah.
It was by accident. So I was in high school. I was in football. I just got out of practice, and I go home, and I'm the only one there. I mean, there's my siblings, but they're not really there, right? And my parents are not there, and I need ibuprofen. I am sore. I'm hurting. I go into my dad's cabinet. I get out these pills. I pop two in. I go upstairs, and I'm realizing I'm not feeling any better, and I'm still super sore, but I'm having a lot of activity. down, down there. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I go back downstairs to look at what I got, and it was Viagra, my dad's Viagra. And it was so embarrassing. And at that moment, everyone starts to come home, and I'm just trying to hide in my room. They're telling me to get up to help take out groceries. And I'm just like, nah, I can't. And I'm parents yelling at me, and I had to tell my dad what happened. And he was like, all right, you just sit there. He got me a bag of ice. He's like, put that on there.
He's like, "Don't be using up all my supplies, son."
You fucking idiot. What are you doing? Put the ice on there. He goes, God, let me see that. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, Dad, stop. I'm gonna tell your mom real quick. Hold on. No, don't tell my mom. Mom comes up and she's like, oh my God, baby, you shouldn't. You know you don't need Viagra. You're not your dad's age yet. And I'm like, Mom. She goes, do you want me to get the neighbor? Do you need help? And she was that type of mom. She'd be like, you need any help, baby? I'll get the neighbor for you. And she always likes you. I was like, Mom, she's like 40. And she was just joking around, but it was just so funny the way my mom would react compared to my dad. My dad's like, oh, you stupid fucking idiot. Here you go. Put the ice on the dick. Right? My mom's like, oh, baby, you need some help with that? Get to the neighbors. Yeah, we'll leave you alone. We'll go. I'm like, no, Mom. She'd be like, I know, stupid. Of course, you're not going to get like, she was Southern
All
mom.
right.
Mad funny, bro. But yeah, that was the one and only time I took Viagra, and I fucking hated it. Shit, that shit lasted too long, bro. I was like, what the hell?
How long?
It was like an hour, a little over an hour, like an hour 10.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, at least you know it works, right? At least you know, like, if you ever
Yeah,
need it.
no. Yo, would you date anybody in the workplace?
Oh, I have.
You have?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
I fucked
so
around the workplace. I don't know if I ever dated.
for a span of time, I only dated in the workplace. Like, because I didn't really go out to clubs, I didn't really go out to bars.
Wait,
So,
wait.
yeah,
Your workplace was your dating profile and your matches.
real talk. Like, I
Swipe right, swipe
only
left.
Yeah, I only dated girls that worked in my building or worked in my depart. Because for a span of time, again, I wasn't going out,
Mhm.
so I would literally go to work. I would come home, and I would just so happen to meet some young ladies, and situations kicked off, and they worked out. And thank goodness, we all have pretty good relationships now. For the most, it was like, let me tell you, in certain spots I worked at, the job was the club. Like, there were so many women at these jobs, bro. I mean, like, people would literally in the summertime, they would all come outside, and just there, we used to have different shops and stores in the neighborhood. And so people would come outside and just kind of chill out for 15, 20 minutes or so. And sundresses were out, the sandals were out, and it was just,
Mm.
man, it was just love was in the air. You know what I'm saying? It was,
But not at first sight.
yeah.
Have you ever gotten freaky in the workplace? Don't give specific events, but you can say yes or no. Have you ever gotten freaky at the workplace? Yes. Have you ever gotten caught?
No, almost. It was a close call.
Oh, man.
And I remember like coming to the office one time on a weekend. I had to pop up one day and I had to do something on my work laptop. And so where my office was, there was a conference room right on the other side of my office. And so I just hear like movement in the office. I'm hearing like, and like sometimes like the radiators are connected. So like the HVAC systems, you can
Fucking New
hear you
York
sometimes
radiators.
if you put your ear to it, you can hear like other like rooms and stuff. And so like I'm hearing like noise coming from I'm hearing a woman's voice and I'm hearing a dude's voice. And I'm like, what's happening? So I'm still working. I don't care, right? I'm just doing what I gotta
Okay.
do. Sure enough, I'm sitting there at my desk and my boy walks out, Italian cat. He walks out with this girl and he just looks at me. He was like,
You ain't seen nothing. You ain't
yo,
seen
and he
nothing.
didn't even have to say shit. It was just like, got you. Like that was it. Like we gave each other the salute.
Salute.
I knew what time it was. He knew what time it was, and we just kept it moving, man. And
That's
mind you,
right.
I'm just there. I'm catching up on some work real quick because I got to make a quick run. So I'm like, all right, let me do this before I had to grab my laptop and I left. And he came out. He did not expect to see me there. He saw me. He was like, because
That's
the girl walked
wild.
out first, and then he walked out next, and he was just like,
Sir.
word, and
Jeez.
she was like younger than him. He wasn't like, mind you, this was I would say what 10 years ago maybe. And but yeah, like she was in her teens or whatever. He was in his 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just making moves, doing what they do.
You got it.
And it's a yeah. And but this made me think though, like, what do you think is a suitable age gap relationship?
Suitable age gap had to be, I mean, 14, 15 years. I think that's the max, right? if I look at it. If you're old enough to have birthed me, then that's different, right? I mean, I hate to say it, man, but I've been with someone who was like 20, 21, 22 years older than me when I was like 21. I was a young cat, and what did my dad used to say? Young, dumb, and full of cum, and I was just going at it, man. So
Mhm.
I've experienced that, right? And so what I've seen, and personally, I would say the max age gap had to be like has to be like maybe like 14 years. Yeah, like 13, 14 years. That's the
You know,
max.
it's interesting. Not too long ago, I had a young lady kind of approach me on some stuff, and this girl was only 20, 21 years old, and I didn't know, right? The only reason why I knew was because one of my friends, he was there with me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know her. She's young. Like she's like my daughter's age." That's what he said about his daughter, right? And I'm like, "What?" So he's like, "Yeah, she's barely 20." And so, a girl kind of comes up to me and she's talking to me, and I'm like, "Girl, I've heard about how old you are. You need to fall back. Like go that way, and she was like, "I like older men. I've been with older men before. You don't look old." Like, I'm like, "Okay, that's cool and all, but still, I just would feel bad knowing that I'm talking to someone that is that age, like, because again, you got a lot of growing to do, and you might be more mature than girls your age typically are, but it's still."
So I like you said that. I like how you said that because maturity does play a part in it as well, right? Have you experienced certain things? And I used to hate when people would say, "You're still young. You haven't experienced." And I'm like, "Well, I've traveled way more than you have. I've seen the world for what it is at my age. I've experienced some crazy shit in different countries. I've experienced someone getting shot in Papua New Guinea. I've seen someone pointing a gun at me over in the DRC. I mean, I've seen so much shit, man. I saw a lot of beauty as well, and I've experienced culture. And am I an expert on all these things? No, but I've experienced, right? But when I hear someone say, "Well, you're mature for your age, you have a lot of experience, or you don't have enough experience," I always go back to the maturity part, as you just mentioned, right? If your maturity level is at a certain degree where you can have intellectual conversations, you can be open minded about certain things, you are there for the important things, there for the little things, there for the big things, and you're not letting your age dictate how you should be, but more so your personality. I think that's a very attractive thing, and I think that's why some of these older ladies, when I was younger, were attracted to me because my personality was very outgoing, was more established. I had this certain demeanor about me that other men didn't. I had this certain maturity about me that other men didn't, and I didn't have a lot of these immaturity marks that made me look my age.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's a good point. And, that brings up a double standard that typically happens because, with guys and younger women, it's looked at more of a predatory type of thing. But if an older woman gets with a younger guy, it's a Stella got her groove back type situation, where they
Mhm.
look at it like, "Girl, go ahead and get that young blood." You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get, and so to me, it's interesting to see the dynamic, right? That double standard does exist. And typically guys don't mind. It's like we're much more open and willing to, be with an older woman, and a younger woman too. And I think that's one of the things that most guys don't care about. But for me, I just see it because that made me think about the whole Bill Belichick situation, right? Like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw the interview that he did. I said she because she kind of thrust herself into it.
Mhm.
But he did an interview recently. He's trying to market his book, and so the reporter asked him a question about his relationship with his girl. He's like, you guys have been all over the news lately. We've heard things about you guys. I'm pretty sure you don't want to be, but how did you guys meet? And she immediately was like, "We're not talking about it." And she's on the
Oh,
sideline, he's like, Bill is giving an interview. She's on the side and she's like, "No, we're not talking about that." And
that's
so that
interesting.
to me, yeah, I was taken aback. I was like, whoa. Now, mind you, this girl is only like 27 years old. Like, she's young. And Bill
Well, that's
is
why.
over 70, and so it makes you again like what is that limit? Like how can someone be with someone? And to me, it's like, okay, great, you can be as mature as you want to be, but there are certain conversations we can't even have because you've never experienced what it's like to be married. You've never experienced what it's like to do certain things, right, with your life, or even have a full career. You still haven't had your career yet. You're 27 years old. There's very little we could talk about. And so just seeing that, it just really made me kind of take a step back with her and seeing how she's already kind of inserted herself in.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't say that I really care about that. I think that when it comes to a relationship, obviously these men have they have and women as well, they have their own personalities and what their likes and dislikes are, and they maybe feel like their time on this world isn't as long as it was when they were younger, and they're going to live their life and enjoy having someone younger that makes them feel younger. It goes back to this thing where, you want to surround yourself with the group that you want to, be accustomed to, whether it's people who are success planning and people who are adventurous, people who are sports fanatics. If you're in these type of groups, you're going to be more involved, right? If you're with a younger person, maybe the mindset is, I'm with a younger person, I feel younger, I feel more fulfilled, I feel more youthful. She makes me feel, she makes me feel, she makes me feel. And with all the things that he's gone through, being as successful as he is, especially with the New England Patriots when he was winning all the Super Bowls and doing all the things, he spent his whole time with this team, being about this team, living and breathing this team. And now he's going to coach college football, which is less strenuous. And now he has more time for a relationship. I can see why he's going for someone younger because it's probably making him feel that much more youthful.
Alive. Yeah. When I look at it, I just look at it as a question of, is this genuine love or is it a move for power? Because
Probably.
yeah, I mean, when you think
Give
about
or
it, to
take.
me, when I see an age gap that large, I never believe it's love. Because again, and look, there's some women out there who will tell you, I enjoy being with older men because they're much more mature. Younger guys are bums, they're idiots, they don't think right. They're always thinking with the other head, and the older guys are different. That's cool. And sometimes those women might be having daddy issues too. Sometimes they are having issues where maybe their father wasn't around, or, they want that older man, that presence. But when I see her, I see somebody who they reported that she bought two properties literally within the span of a week from each other after she and Bill got together. And these properties are worth like $8 million.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a big buck.
And she was in a commercial not too long ago. I just saw this Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck and his brother Casey. Bill was in the commercial. Ski was in it as well.
Yeah.
But
True. See.
but like, how did she get in this thing? Like, why was she even in it? And so my question is she able to like really insert herself in a way like she kind of told him, like, I want to be where you are. I want to get myself in the same mix. Mind you, this guy's put in work for over 30 years
Absolutely.
to get where he's at. And
And
she
what's the
met
what's the
him.
age difference there?
Oh, it's over 40 years. It's over
So
40 years.
so when you look at that, right? The Craven star, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Mhm.
So his wife, Sam Taylor Johnson, she's 23 years older than him, right?
Wow.
So when they met, he was, you know, 18, I think, and she was like 32, 18, 19, she was 32. And they're still together many years down the road. She's what, 55 now, and he's 32. So they've been together for a long while.
He's only
And
32 years old.
yeah,
Dang.
and she has a daughter who is similar age to him. So
That's crazy.
when you think about that, and that's reversed, right? And she has been there for him, you know, through thick and thin. And they have this healthy relationship. And she has a child from him as well. So she's 55 right now, he's 32. And they have, this long-standing relationship. And when you think about the roles reversed, the man being younger than the woman and how that's perceived compared to the woman being younger than the male, I know that he's also, has a career and he's doing his thing, but she was already established and, she helped him along the way while he was moving up in his career. So my question to you is, what's the difference between both of those accounts?
I mean, it depends on the situation, of course, but even their gap, that's 20 something years. That's a little bit more palatable. It would really depend on, was she like, to me, it's all about a power dynamic too. Like, If it's a huge age gap, is it because maybe they were your manager at some point? Were they somebody that oversaw your pay? They managed how much money you got. So those things to me are what would drive me to think that it could be something else besides true love, right? If you guys just met on the humble and you really got along with each other, great. That's cool. I got nothing to say to that. But when it's a huge gap, like when I see 27 and 67, and for me, the fact that she was just so cagey, like, oh, we don't talk about that, that
Mm.
leads me to believe, okay, what's the real story here? How did you guys meet? Some
So that's
seedier
interesting.
situation?
Yeah.
Huh?
So that's interesting. So, as you were talking about all that, how did you meet? I got curious. I'm like, how did he meet his wife, right? And so it says here, Aaron Taylor Johnson met his wife Sam Taylor Johnson when he auditioned for the movie Nowhere Boy in 2008. The movie was a biopic of John Lennon's early life, and he played the someone who assassinated him, right? And
Mm,
she directed the movie, and the couple's relationship moved at a breakneck speed. They each insisted on that, no funny business occurred during the film. And afterwards, they got together. So they met when she was directing this movie. So she's a director. She's, big time. And he was just getting into it. So it's kind of unique. Maybe he saw that as a way to continue his career, being married to a director or being, affiliated with a director and jumpstarting his career into different directions, giving him, you know, um, connections that other people wouldn't have had if they didn't have this connection. So, there's always a give and take when it comes to being with someone, right? There's always gonna be something that you want in return. And he got it. They're still together. So that tells you that somewhere along the lines, they became, you know, more involved with who they are, not for what they can get from each other.
but when you're talking about these age gaps, there's always a power dynamic, right? Like, well, for the most part, it seems to be that.
Mhm.
Because how do you meet? Typically, those you don't roll in the same circles,
Right.
right? Like, younger people are going to clubs. You're 60 plus. You're not going to a club. You're in bed or you're making a deal somewhere. You're on the golf course. You're on your boat somewhere catching fish.
Yeah.
You're not in the club. So where are you meeting? And so I can see why she was probably a little cagey about it because of course you meet online. And I don't want to, ascribe any bad things to it, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, the fact that she was so jumpy about it, it just had me really
It's
questioning.
yeah, it's a little
Like to me, there was a better way you could have said that. You could have been like, "Yeah, we don't really talk about our relationship."
she shut the shit down.
But the way
Uh
she did it, it was like she was the handler. Like she basically made the rules. She was like, "Oh, we don't talk about that." And mind you,
maybe
when you
she
look at
told
Bill
him.
Belichick, you look at Bill Belichick like he's a boss. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he managed the Patriots, he was very much very few words. I say what I say, and that's that. And it is what it is. But
Maybe they
she
have a working
just
relationship where she's like, "You don't tell them about how we met, and I'm gonna make you feel good." Maybe they have that understanding. We can only speculate right now, but
yeah.
from where it's coming from, right? Don't tell them, shut it down. We're not gonna get there. Maybe they have some type of understanding and they gotta own up to it, right?
Mhm.
You with me, I'm with you. That's all that matters. Don't talk about anything else.
Yeah, I can see that. Of course, we talk about possible seedy activity. I mean, you see what's happening with Diddy's trial, like that's coming up soon.
Mhm.
And, but jury selection has begun. So they've been asking people, have they seen the video of him beating Cassie's ass? And they're like, yeah, we've seen it. And I feel like that's going to be a huge issue for him. Just the fact that it has been one of those things where he has to get to some level of understanding of, yes, I did this and I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean that I did all this other stuff. That's going to be a hard case for him to pull off.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
And so I guess the question is it like can you separate the artist from the music? Because I'll be real with you. I still love. I mean, you think about it. We grew up on his music. Like we grew up on that P Diddy Bad Boy era, Biggie Smalls, Junior Mafia,
Yeah,
No Way Out. Like I'm not gonna stop listening to the music. Real talk. Like that's a big part of my life. And so I think the question is though, a lot of people because it's very easy to feel awkward and say, damn, like can I play this music with other people around? How they gonna feel about it? But my thing is a lot of times you don't even know he's on a song or he's participating in a song.
what's that R.
So
Kelly P. Diddy joint?
they did a song together? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
No. I thought I had a song in mind. I can't remember.
yeah, it was, let's see, was it Satisfy You? No. Yeah. It's Puff Daddy featuring R. Kelly, "Satisfy You."
Is it on that album, the No Way Out album?
You know what? It's on Forever.
Okay.
Forever, 1999. Yeah, man.
But yo, like, cause he just dropped the album literally right before all that stuff came out. He dropped an amazing album. I mean, this was a compilation album. So I feel bad a lot of times for the artists that work with him, because it's like I don't want their music to now be put on the back burner because of what he did. And
Mhm,
they genuinely put out some heat. Like that project was probably one of the best R&B projects of the last 10 years. No bullshit.
mhm.
Like I remember hearing that album about 2 years ago. It came out like September 23, I think. And when I tell you I listened to that album, I was like, yo, this is some of the best music I've heard in years. And then for that stuff to come out damn near 2 months later,
Yeah, man. Listen, I would say his music is still good, man. I mean, like you can't knock the music. It's still there. If if none of these allegations ever came about, right, and never went to prison or whatever, we still would be listening to it and being like, "Damn, that shit's fire!" Right? That's
Mhm,
an OG. That's a head nodder. That's a bump, right?
mhm.
And now that he's in prison, you're like, man, fuck his music. Nah, it doesn't work that way, right? Like his shit's still good. If you still fuck with it before it happened, like you should still fuck with it now. You
Man,
know?
let's be real. There, like, if we want to go with the idea that nobody should have a CD past or issues that they dealt with, we probably could listen to a lot of music or watch a lot of movies. Like, there's literally so many people who have done some super foul shit
Like I
in
don't
show
hear R.
business.
Kelly on the radio anymore. So I mean,
You know what? You made me think. I mean, yes, radio is one thing,
you
right?
don't hear him on
But
the fucking radio.
yeah, radio. I mean, you won't hear P Diddy like that. You won't hear Kanye like that. Kanye for good reason. Like that guy's a
Oh,
fucking.
fucking crazy.
But yeah, like typically you won't hear much about that stuff on the radio. Now your personal playlist, that's a whole different story. It's still all over Spotify because you can't take down their music. It's like, hey, if you want to hear it, you can hear it.
Hmm.
I think that's cool. Like I think you should be able to listen to it because again, we're talking about decades of music, bro. And I mean quality music, not just any crap. So it is hard. It's hard to have that conversation sometimes. Like, damn, should I listen to it? Should I?
Yeah, I think you know, if you fuck with it, again, just fuck with it. Like I'm not gonna fuck with it out loud, you know, bump it in the car for everyone to hear. I'm gonna fuck with it in my headsets, you know what I'm saying? Like in my own space. I'm not gonna be doing I'm not gonna be doing all that out loud where people are gonna look at me and think, damn, you listening to that shit? Because, you know, I might care for a little judgment, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking go out, let people hear my shit, but I'll fuck with it at home.
And
Respect.
I'm guaranteeing that a lot of people do that. It's just like, look, I listen to it at home in my car, but when we get in problem, I'm like, is it okay? Should I play this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
no,
walk on
no.
eggshells a little bit. Yeah,
Private setting.
private. All right.
No Diddy.
Well, we'll go ahead and get into our fun fact for the day, man. You got anything exciting today?
Just talking about the whole music real quick before we get to the fun facts. I will say though, I have listened to you know, to a few Diddy songs, and it has been on my mind and thinking about what is appropriate to listen to, what is not appropriate to listen to. I'm listening to the lyrics a little more. I'm trying to figure out, is there signs of just some freak nasty shit?
Yeah, I do that too.
You know what I mean? Like, where there's some freak nasty shit signs like beforehand, and it does make me wonder: were there signs of this type of shit going on within his music? Have you like listened to it and thought the same thing?
So I got my fact. You
Go
ready
ahead,
for
bro.
this? Check this out. It's actually some pretty interesting ones I see. So one is that trees actually talk to each other underground. I don't know if you ever did you ever see that movie that came out some years ago called The Happening? It was a M. Night Shyamalan
Yes, fuck
movie.
that movie.
Remember that?
That
Yeah.
scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that was creepy. It really made you think, like, what if nature kind of took over and said, you know what, y'all are fucking up. We got to get rid of y'all. But basically, what
Absolutely.
it says is through a network of fungi, trees share nutrients and even warn nearby trees of danger, like pests or drought. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, and honestly, I could believe it. You hear about plants kind of communicating with each other. And what's also interesting, too, is I've also seen certain studies where, like, if you cut off a leaf of a plant and, like, sometimes they connect different electrodes to it, the plant
Mhm.
reacts and it can emote basically if it's in pain or not. So the plant basically is going through pain if you cut off a limb or a branch or a leaf. And it's just for interesting to realize that they have feelings and ways of expressing themselves too.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. Mine's a little interesting. If you like Disneyland, and you're afraid of skeletons, then that's on you. But Disneyland, their famous Pirate of the Caribbean ride, they use real skeletons.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
They use
That's
real
pretty cool.
skeletons. That's pretty
So
interesting.
when you reach your hand out, guys, just know you're touching a
Yeah,
real
you're
person.
touching someone who was alive. Like there might be ghosts in there. But another one would have been, if I didn't choose that, it would have been refrigerators were magnetic before 1956 and can only be opened from the outside.
Only be open from the outside.
So if you lock something inside, they can't get out.
Oh, oh, that's crazy.
Hmm.
That's crazy. So hold on,
Uh-huh.
I got one more fact for you too. So
All
check
right, hit
this
me.
out. Check this out. So it says that I'm sure you've heard the whole term of Napoleon complex, right? Where they talk
Yes,
about
yes.
Napoleon being like a super short guy, right? So interestingly, it says Napoleon wasn't that short. He was 5'6", which is average height. But where that came from was British propaganda basically started to make him seem like this super short man with this issue of inferiority, right? So even though he wasn't really that short, it was just the Brits trying to come up with different terms that
That's fucked
subscribe
up.
to him being like a short dude. So that's why we know now this term of the Napoleon from that.
That's actually pretty fucked.
That's crazy, right?
All right, one more. There are more vacant homes than homeless people in the USA. Fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing it out there.
Yo, man, that's yeah. That just speaks to again this corporate greed. They'd rather let the house sit dormant than have people living in them, which
Is what
doesn't
it is.
make any sense to me at all.
All right, man.
But yeah, man, great stuff, bro. Great stuff. I learned a couple things today.
I learned a lot of things too.
Oh, I got another one. Check this out. So, how much do you think the average cloud?
2,000 pounds.
That's a good guess, but check this out. That fluffy white thing in the sky, yeah, it's holding about 1.1 million pounds of water.
It's because all the water it holds, right?
What, yo, 1.1 million
Yo,
pounds.
that's crazy.
And that's the average cloud. That's not those massive cloud masses that we see up in the sky. That's crazy. 1.1 million. That's kind of scary when you
That's
think
about how
about
much
it.
you eat in a year, bro. Jesus.
Don't be putting my business out in the street like that.
My bad.
I'm working on my shit. I called Jenny Craig up yesterday, man. I'm working on it.
If I had a superpower, I would eat all I want and give it to other people.
Oh, man. Yo, great call today, bro. I really
Great shit.
appreciate you, man. Great call. Listen,
Likewise.
man, thank you all again for listening. We appreciate y'all very much. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys.
Yes, sir.
Later.